Saturday, 5:30, Chelsea take the trip to Manchester, where we are rocking up to the Etihad to absolutely smash Manchester City to pieces. Josh, is that how the script sounds to you?
You made me sick. Mate, we should have beaten them 4-3 in the return fixture. Come on. So maybe we should be a bit confident. Do you know what? Against the bigger sides...
They should just give us the one goal head start, because Kukured didn't foul Haaland, and that was completely pathetic.
I think that's the only fair way to start the game, mate.
Yeah. Okay, so 1-0 head start. Next goal wins. Listen, we are going to speak about the match against Manchester City. In this video, we're going to talk up Chelsea's chances. We're both going to give our starting 11 picks for this game. So, if that sounds like it tickles your fancy, stick around and wait to see it. But before we get into all that, I need to ask you lot a massive favour. Head over to Josh's channel. It is linked in the description. Subscribe to his channel so that you can see all of his content coming out. And we have breaking news for you, don't we?
Tell me.
You don't know what I'm on about?
No.
We were just talking about it 2 seconds ago.
Are we confirming it now? Are we releasing that news?
We might. Oh, no, he's got to check, hasn't he? You've asked? Right, this is very informal, isn't it? But basically,
Just do 2 versions where you say it.
Did you just call us 2 virgins?
2 versions.
Get out! Get out!
I think worst case scenario we could just.
I'm rolling, by the way, so
no,
this
you are.
is just
I know
going
you are.
right.
Yeah.
What we are
Come
thinking.
And say hello.
What we're thinking.
Podcast room.
What we're thinking is myself and Josh, that we are going to be doing a live stream for the League Cup final against Liverpool next Sunday.
Next Sunday. You ready for it? You nervous?
Not really. No.
I'm bloody nervous. I'll have all the nerves for both of us.
I'm ready to rock up to Wembley and have an absolute shootout with Klopp's men. So if you want to see the live stream, let us know in the comment section to this video. Let's get in to the Manchester City game. Josh, are you nervous for this one?
Nah, City shit. No, I'm terrified, mate. Do you know what? I was looking at the stats from the Copenhagen game, I should say. And obviously, Copenhagen, not the best team in the world. They probably got the easiest draw they could possibly get in the Champions League. And can we just have a side point? How the fuck do Man City keep getting these easy draws in the Champions League?
Mate,
it's every fucking year they get the easiest group and then they get the easiest last 16 fixture. I'm sick of it.
I mean, Real Madrid wasn't an easy.
Yeah, but you know, don't worry about that one. It's all the other years. We were against really difficult teams. Every year we got someone difficult in the Champions League. It's ridiculous.
I'll tell you what semi-final we so should have won though.
Come,
Monaco.
Yeah. Monaco got some decent players.
Yeah. Fernando, was it Morientes they had at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quality player he was.
Yeah, that was a hard one. But before we get into all that, I want to give a huge shout out to today's video sponsors and partners of the channel, and that is StakeMate. StakeMate is a football app that makes football betting simple. They offer accumulators, bet builders, and have plenty more features coming to the app over the next few weeks. Best of all, no banners and no annoying pop-ups. So right now, I am going to use the StakeMate app to put on my 4-fold accumulator for this weekend. Starting off, I'm going to back Liverpool to pick up an away win at Brentford. I'm then going to head to the Championship, where I am going to back Huddersfield to get a draw against Hull. I think Leeds are going to continue their promotion push by winning away at Plymouth. And then I'm backing another away win, this time in the Bundesliga, where I am backing Dortmund to win against Wolfsburg. I'm only going to stick a fiver on that, but at the time of recording, I stand to win just over 80 quid. So why not support me by supporting the guys who support this channel, and that is StakeMate. You can download the app from the App Store or the StakeMate website, and they're also linked in the description. Please remember that StakeMate is a betting app, which means you do need to be 18 years old or over to use. You do need to be living in the UK, and most importantly, please remember to gamble responsibly. This game in particular, do you actually like being? I know we have always got blue tinted glasses on, but do you give us any chance in this match?
Dark blue or light blue? Do we have a chance? I do think we perform better against these big teams, and we know that City are going to be so high and so attacking. Again, like I was looking at their stats, right? Their centre-back was basically in the middle of midfield. They always do this thing where they basically advance the centre-back, and then they have these sort of like these free defenders left, basically, and then everyone else is attacking, right? I do think if we can exploit that properly, if we get some absolute pacey wingers running in behind them, then we do absolutely have a chance. But I don't know with the performances that we've just had. whether Pochettino is going to set us up in a way that will unlock that Man City defence. And I'm saying all of this with a massive caveat that Man City are so good, it actually doesn't matter if they had 2 in defence. They'd probably still beat us.
Do you know what the problem is? Like, I actually look at it and I think, right, can Chelsea catch Man City on the counter-attack and do them some damage? 100%. 100% we can. But there's one key thing that we're ignoring there. To catch a team on the counter-attack, there's no point catching them on the counter-attack if you're already 3 goals behind.
Yeah.
And can we be defensively resolute enough to stop Manchester City scoring?
They're going to score, mate. You know they're going to score. Especially because the first game we played, we didn't have De Bruyne to deal with. And do you know what? Like, who the fuck are you putting up against De Bruyne? Like, I almost want to man-mark him in this game. And I'm trying to think who would be the one. And maybe Caicedo ends up being the one. Or maybe it's Gallagher. I don't know. I do think you need to get someone close to him as possible, because I've seen again the Copenhagen games, the most recent games, he has run it.
I think, to be honest, I think that, look, and we'll get on to team selections, but let's say we did go over midfield 3 of Caicedo, Enzo, Gallagher. I think all of them just need to be very, very spatially aware in terms of what positions of the pitch they progress into. I know that Gallagher's the legs in there, but I think we're going to need him in the middle of the park, and I think maybe being a little bit less forward when it comes to where he's actually positioned on the pitch and just sitting there with the 2 of them and helping support them.
Yeah. Is this a game, mate, that you're considering the 5 at the back?
I've been considering the 5 at the back for a while now, but I just don't think it's going to happen. When does Poch ever do it? Not just for Chelsea. When does he ever do it?
But would you do it in this game?
Yes.
Bearing in mind
I would,
the context.
Yeah. But I would also have liked to have had a game or 2 where we just sort of get a little bit used to it, rather than being like, right, first time in God knows how long, 8 months or 10 months, let's go for a 3 at the back, 5 at the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what? For me, I wouldn't do it. And the only reason being is that we don't have enough centre-backs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rush Trev into this game.
No.
I wouldn't put him straight in.
Mate, even by putting Colwell in, and we'll get onto our teams in a sec, but even by putting Colwell in, it's sort of rushing. It's rushing more than I think Mauricio Pochettino would like. You see how cautious he's been with the likes of Nkunku coming back, other players in there. So I think that even putting Colwell in, there's a little bit of a risk, but I think our hands already sort of forced. So we will go with the team. Let's go with our team sheet. I want your starting 11.
Okay.
Your 11 that you think is ready to go and pummel City at the Etihad.
Okay. So with everything that I've just said, I am going basically a 4-3-3.
Yep.
I think with this one. So Petrovic in goal, obvious. Chilwell left back, obvious. Gusto right back, obvious. Like those 3 now, we just don't even have any other options anymore. So you kind of just have to go with them. I will rush back Colwell, and I'll put him straight into the team at left centre back. And then basically our only other fit centre back at the moment is Disasi. We were just saying Thiago Silva, I honestly do think could be out for a couple of weeks minimum. We're going to hear more about that on Friday. So by the time this video goes out, everyone will know, but for me, it seems like a relatively serious one.
How are you feeling on Disasi at the moment? Because he is the defender that has the most minutes registered so far this season. He's a man that Mauricio Pochettino seems to trust. Whenever we've seen different combinations in that centre-back pairing, it's usually consisted of having Disasi in there. And he's come under a little bit of flack at times. He's come under a little bit of flack from myself. Where are you sort of rating him at the minute?
Well, first of all, I love the celebration.
Yeah.
I love the crowd surfing. And do you know what? That will endear him to the fans more than some of his performances even. And I think he is actually building a good connection with the fans. I actually like Disasi for the fact of his physicality more than anything. Like he's a big, strong, fast defender. And we kind of need that. And I do think...
Pretty unreal against Aston Villa as well, wasn't he?
Pretty unreal, exactly. And look, mate, he's had good and bad games. Like let's be honest. But I do think with a settled partner of good quality... I do think Disasi will end up, like, his levels will end up going higher than they already are. So I like him. And honestly, I think if you look at the options that we have, I do think potentially Fofana displaces him when he comes back. But that's a big if. And it's a big if that Fofana will ever be the same player that he was back in the day. We're thinking of Fofana pre-injury. You know, and I think post-injury, I don't know if he'll be the same. We've seen so many players like that. So, do you know what, mate? Even if we do end up signing another defender, I could see Disasi being a week in, week out player next season as well.
Do you know what I do think about Disasi? I've been, I don't want to say critical, but a little bit, a little bit of constructive criticism for what it's worth. Not that you'd want to take it off me. For some of his performances so far this season, I've got a very strong feeling that we see a big second season from Disasi once he's got his feet under the table in this league. So
Was Rudiger a bit like that? Was Rudiger when he first came in? He wasn't favoured.
Rudiger was not looked at the way he ended up being looked at by the time all was said and done at Chelsea from that first season. A little bit shaky at times. And I think you get that with a lot of centre-backs, don't you? Like, a lot of centre-backs will always look to... I'll tell you who had the worst debut I've ever seen for Chelsea.
Come on.
Thiago Silva. West Brom, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a bad one. So, let's see. Yeah. Midfield 3.
So the midfield 3, I think now just picks itself every week. Like Caicedo deeper. I do want in this game Enzo to be way deeper than he usually is. I want Enzo to be right next to Caicedo, and basically I think those are the two that need to man mark the sort of attacking mids that Man City are going to do. They basically love that central area, that sort of area behind the striker. That's where they get all their joy and all their goals from, because it comes into a player in that side, it goes out to a winger, or it goes through to Haaland, and then they score their goals right. So that area is going to be key. So I do think this game more than ever, Enzo needs to be incredibly disciplined. And I have to say, last couple of games, Enzo's looked really good, hasn't he?
He has been turning it on.
Against Palace, he was doing a few passes that you thought, they weren't that good. But he was the only player making forward passes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of am happy for Enzo to have a few misplaced passes if it means that one of those ones that he gets right.
Second half, he was making forward passes.
Yeah.
First half, he made 2 forward passes.
Yeah,
in the whole half, 2 passes that went forward. One was an intercepted header. So
yeah. I really like Enzo, and I think he'll be good. And then I would play Gallagher in front of those 2, and I want them to be a proper out and out 3 as opposed to this sort of Gallagher being a false 9 almost. Do you know what I mean? Like when he pushes very high up. I don't think you can press City that way. They're just too good. So those are the 3.
Onto your forward line. Is Cole Palmer going back to the Etihad to tell them why they shouldn't have sold him?
Do you know what? Like, this front 3 for me is the most fluid out of the entire team at the moment, just mainly because of the options. But Cole Palmer's got to be the first one on the team sheet.
And where would you have him? Because we've been seeing him in that false 9 position. Would you have him there?
In my team, I haven't put him there. Now, as I say, I was thinking about potentially moving to a 5. I don't think we can physically do it. So what I've done is I've said the midfield 3 need to be more defensive, and then therefore the front 3 can be incredibly fluid and they can be all over the place. So my recommendation actually for this game is to say to those entire front 3, I don't really care what your position is. Like, just be fluid, move around, like where the ball is.
City-esque when they had Sterling there and they didn't really have an all-out number 9.
Yeah, or Liverpool-esque with their front 3, very fluid. So yeah, 100%. So I'm starting Palmer on the right, but I'm saying to him, move around, be free. Then
just do you,
Cole. And do you know what, mate? Maybe this is wishful thinking, but I just have something in my, I feel that Cole Palmer will end up turning on.
Really? You think we're going to see a cold performance?
I think we will. I think we may potentially get a pen, so he scores that, and then I think he'll get a couple of assists. I think it'll be a high-scoring game.
Couple of assists and a pen. You think was putting 3 past City at the Etihad?
I think this is going to be a huge game for Cole Palmer, and I think we're going to score goals. I think there'll be goals at both ends. It could be a 5-5.
Yeah, so, goals at both ends. A few for City in the first half and a few for City in the second half.
Exactly. Yeah, brilliant. 6-0 to City.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, maybe. Then I'd go Jackson on the left.
On the left wing, yeah?
I think he's been so good on the left wing.
I like Jackson on the left wing, man. Yeah. Did you see that back heel with his back to goal around the half? Oh, it is lovely.
I could watch that over. Do you know what I have? I've watched that about 50 times.
Yeah, it's as good as a goal. Good as a goal. If I was working for the Premier League, I'd give us the 3 points before we even actually managed to secure them just for that.
And on Fantasy Football, he should have got a 5 points just for that as well.
Coming good, Jackson, isn't he?
He's
Abstinence
right.
makes the heart grow fonder. And what were we saying during that African Cup of Nations?
We needed him back. And you know what's brilliant is that he did a lovely celebration against Palace, got his 9th yellow card, 1 more, and he'll be banned for 2 games. So so you'll get to miss him even more.
He's a pain in the arse, isn't he, when it comes to the discipline?
Do you know what's funny is he ran from the bench. Bear in mind the bench is on the left-hand side as you're watching the game. He runs past the referee, bangs into him, literally physically bangs into him, past him, goes towards the fans, celebrates like mad, gets a yellow card. So stupid.
Could be worse.
Do you know what Poch did?
Do you reckon Cole Palmer does the Adebayor?
Oh, that would be brilliant. He wouldn't dare.
No.
I don't think Cole's got that in him.
Well, he wouldn't dare. There's nothing to be scared of. If City's only City haven't got a fan above the age of 12. A load of kids.
You'd have a lot of those kids go, Cole, no, don't do it.
Yeah, throwing fucking prime bottles at him.
They would hurt though. Fuck, yeah.
No, and obviously being a Misfits fighter, big up Prime. So.
yeah, exactly. You know. Get that now. You need a little can here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love that actually. But yeah, I think we're going to miss Jackson when because he'll get a yellow card in this game, mate.
Yeah. 100%.
It'll be gone.
100%. You can't predict the score. You can't predict who scores. But I can tell you what, Jackson is getting a yellow in this game. 1,000,000%. So in the number 9, it's got to be Nkunku.
It's got to be Nkunku.
Yeah.
Like, we looked so much better when he came on against Palace, didn't he? It felt like a different game almost. And I know it's a bit reductive to say that that's the only thing that changed. But he did look very good. He didn't necessarily do too much immediately, but it's just the movement. Something about the movement and the way he was in the box. It sort of put Palace on the back foot.
I'm going to really sort of shorten things off here because it's a first. How many games in the season are we?
We're about 23 games now.
So for the first time this season, we do this style of content every single week. We do these episodes every single week. It's a full flush.
No way.
Yeah, I can't. What could I argue with?
I think you could 100% argue that having a pacey winger in this team would be better than Cole or Nkunku being in the team.
Noni Madueke is hot and cold for me. And when he's hot, I absolutely love him. Because Cole Palmer up here, I think is miles ahead of Noni Madueke. Cole Palmer up here is light years ahead of your boy Mykhailo Mudryk, unfortunately, and we will touch on him. But I think that having Cole Palmer there, although he doesn't offer you that blistering pace in behind, I think what he offers us creatively is just way too good. Nicholas Jackson, I'm really liking seeing him on the wings. And then when you look at wing options, if we do consider him a winger now, my God, he's the one that gets the goals for a winger. Bit of a cheat, but, you know, we don't mind it because he was playing at number 9 a lot of the time. But as a wing option, gives you them goals, gets in there. And then Christopher Nkunku, I think, a little bit quieter against Palace, but one of our most important players. I just can't change him. Gallagher, how am I going to drop him after the match he just had? Enzo Caicedo pick himself. And in defence, like you say, we are fairly limited, aren't we? So I think, rather than me listing out a team and just giving you the exact same names, I will agree exactly with that team. I won't put any other spin on it. I would like to see an interchangeable front line along there, and I do think we will. I was looking at us in the last game at times. Jackson was either on the left-hand side. Sometimes he was drifting into that number 9 space. Obviously, Nkunku didn't start. He needs to in this match. That bit of quality is something that further up the pitch we cannot be missing in this match, especially when you think that not only as a goal threat, how creative Nkunku is. If I do want those 3 central midfield players to very much be in central midfield rather than 2 of them there, Enzo drifting up the left somewhere, Gallagher further forward than Cole Palmer is even sometimes. If I want them there as that unit, which we're going to need to combat that Man City midfield and stand any chance in this match, Nkunku's a given. He's got to be on the pitch because he offers us that creativity as well. Let's talk about the men that are excluded from this lineup. And obviously, if you're picking on form, then maybe you're not going to pick Raheem Sterling. But if you're looking at the prior game, you know, the reverse fixture, let's say, Raheem Sterling was electric in that match, and he had Kyle Walker on toast.
Mate, it's the fact that we are now that I didn't even think about Raheem Sterling. I didn't even consider him. In fact, I had him 3rd in the choices of the wingers that I put in this team.
What's the 3?
Well, I'd put, honestly, I'll say this. I'll ask you a question back. Where is Man City's weakness? They have an unbelievable team. They have quality in every single position. If you had to say one area that you think that Man City's weakest at, what is it?
I think Guardiola's been shit.
So Guardiola hasn't been so shit, he probably isn't even going to play. This is probably going to be Ake, right, on the left-hand side. So basically, the left-hand side. So what you're saying is the right winger has to basically put this guy on toast.
No, he's not been shit, has he, Guardiola? Sorry.
No, I mean, he's been shit for City.
No, he's been shit.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, he hasn't been that good.
He's not been shit.
I mean, 80 million quid.
Yeah. We can't talk.
No, we can't.
We can't talk.
So what I'm saying, right, is that the weakness is on that left-hand side.
It's down that side, isn't it?
So I agree, right? And then you think about matchups there, and you think Ake versus Cole Palmer. Is that the most advantageous matchup? Now, in our team sheet, we agree. We think that's the best way. But I think there's a very strong argument for a tactical change here where you go, I want a pacey right winger. Who am I thinking of?
You can't still be beating that.
Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Mykhailo Mudryk, but you can't still be beating that drum now, can
And we
you?
know that Mikhailo's more of a
The
left
fella ain't got off the bench in the last two
know.
matches. He ain't started a game in 5.
Means he's going to be ready.
Tactically, yeah, fresh legs. Tactically, I don't think he can follow strict enough instructions in this game because you can't go out there, kick the ball about, hope for the best, runs in behind. Tactically, we have got to be so resolute in this game.
We do. And look, this is why in both of our team sheets we haven't put him in. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking at it objectively and you're just saying match up to match up, who do we think is going to get the most out of that right hand side? There's 100% an argument to say that Cole Palmer is that guy, right? But there's also an argument to say get a ball for Menzo over the top, crossfield pass over to the right hand side. Who would you want running onto that ball? I would say Mudryk is number 1 and Madueke number 2. And I would actually be happy with either of those.
I'll tell you what, some would think that you're crazy to put Mudryk ahead of Sterling, especially after that performance we saw from him up against sort of Kyle Walker. And obviously, we might say, he'd be over on the other side, but we've seen Sterling occupy both wings this season. So,
mate, do you remember Jose Mourinho did that? They had that sort of behind the scenes stuff, and he did that halftime team talk where he said Pogba is going to play this pass and you need to defend it in this way, and Pogba did literally that, and they got found that right. I honestly do think that Pochettino will be saying it before the game. He'll be saying, Enzo, pick up the ball in the inside left position, find the right winger, ping it over the top of Ake, who's a smaller centre-back, left-back, that really they're a back 3, so that's a smaller centre-back. Ping it over the top of him, get someone in behind, and we'll cut back. In that scenario, do you want Raheem Sterling being that guy? Because I don't.
No,
I don't. I honestly don't. I don't think Sterling has got as much pace as he once did, and the pace that he does have is like 3-yard pace. So I want someone.
I just feel like Sterling likes to think about everything he wants to do too much.
So
and
slow.
Maybe against the teams lower down in the table, and I get ironic we're 10th, but maybe against those teams lower down in the table, you might have that sort of time. You won't have it against Man City.
No.
You know, like even listen, love Enzo, man. The way he's playing recently, really easing some of my worries about him. But you know, like the way he sat down a Palace defender.
Yeah.
And took his time to put that in. Even against City, you don't get that sort of time.
No.
That won't go in against City. You have too many men round you. And my God, like Sterling does that all the time. He overthinks it, overcooks it.
Yeah.
Spends too long, holds on to it too long, slows the game down a little bit. In this match, I just don't think you could do that. So maybe there's some sort of point that I could see that maybe a Raheem Sterling might be behind Mudryk in the sort of pecking order. I think both of them are probably behind Madueke at the moment.
Yeah, they go. But I wouldn't mind if that player was Madueke. 100% not. And do you know what? On some of his performances recently, you can't argue with that. He'd be above Mudryk. But what I'm saying is there's a very specific run that I'm almost planning that I do think that Mudryk is the best player in our entire squad to pick that ball up. But like I said, it probably won't happen. And maybe with all of these things, it will end up being a 70-minute substitution.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got to look to bring someone on. That could be Sterling, or it could be either one of those other two.
One man I would like to see a little bit more of, and it's not just let's get him on the pitch for the sake of it sort of thing. I really, really rate this man, Carney Chukwuemeka.
Yes. And do you know what? In a lot of our lineups recently, they've featured Carney in some description. I think you put him on a wing once, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll put him on the left wing.
Yeah.
I'd been drinking.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
No, I've been doing a lot of heavy sparring, a lot of punches today.
Yeah. You were a bit dizzy that day.
Yeah.
I really like him as well. I just think with the way that Connor's performing, they're basically up against each other, aren't they, for that position? And I don't know, there must be something going on behind the scenes as well, mate, because he hasn't really come off the bench for proper minutes.
There's no way he goes out. He's there. He's staying. He's staying next season. I think he'll feature quite a lot. Pre-season, he featured quite a lot. Early on in the season, he featured. I think he even started against Liverpool on the opening day, didn't he?
There you go, yeah.
Pretty sure.
There
so,
you go.
Yeah.
Mate, this is why I think the transfer boys have thought that they were going to get rid of Connor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I honestly do think that they were thinking either in the summer or in January, Connor was going to go and Carney would have taken his place. Because if you think about it, someone is going to have to go out of that midfield, mate. We have too many options there.
Not just Carney, like Nkunku could take that position. If we end up going in for an Osman and getting an Osman or a Seshko or someone like that, Nkunku's probably going to drop back into that 10 space. Cole Palmer. I don't think when we brought Cole Palmer in, anyone was really thinking he was a right winger. No. It was only really in that League Cup game that we see him over on the right wing for the first time. I thought he was the 10.
Yeah, me too. I would 100% put him there. So yeah, mate, we're stacked. And even if you look at players behind that, like Enzo, I think would ideally want to be a number 10 as well. So
is there a scenario in this game where we don't win, but you still come away proud?
Yeah, mate. This is Chelsea. We're in 10th. I would 100%. Like if we, had a hard fought 2-1, they scored in the last minute. I would be happy with that. It's the Etihad. What
happy or content?
I would be bearing in mind some of the losses we had. I would honestly go, yeah. Do you know what? That's kind of where we are right now.
I think we need to go and beat them. I know it's very unlikely, but I think we do. I think we've lost. Do you know what? The only thing that can level out losing to teams that we just shouldn't have lost to is if we go and get a win here and there against some of the bigger boys. And although we can go, oh, we played well in the bigger games, we ain't won them. We beat Villa and Spurs, okay? 2 good teams, man. 2 teams that are overperforming this season, but 2 teams that I do think, when you compare squads and, whatnot, money spent, wages, that should be teams that we're beating. But we have been beat by the likes of Newcastle. We've been beat by the likes of Liverpool, failed to win against Man City and Arsenal. So I really want a just defining win to be able to get excited about, get happy about. And I'll tell you one thing, mate. If we go in and put a good performance in here against Man City off the back of the win against Aston Villa and then against Crystal Palace, hard fought, but nonetheless popping up in the moments when necessary and winning that game, having a good feeling around. If we can go in and just avoid defeat against Man City, mate, we go into that Liverpool Cup final with a bit of momentum, and we really, really need that.
We do that, and that Bob Marley song becomes even more relevant in that scenario. If we do beat City, and you've got all of that momentum going into that game, mate. Honestly, if we do beat them, I think a lot of people will be pretty confident about the cup final because it's a one-off game. Anything can happen. We're at Wembley, like literally anything can happen. So yeah, mate. Honestly, from a momentum perspective, obviously it'd be good to beat City, but I do think it's very far-fetched. They're so good, and they're going to 100% now go for the title, and they probably could win it.
Yeah.
So
that being said, I am going to push you for a score prediction for this game.
Go on then.
What are we saying?
I teased it earlier on, mate. I'm going to go City to score first. Cole Palmer 1-1 penalty, and then he gets 2 assists in the second half. It looks like we might win the game, but City come back, and it's a 3-3 draw.
I tell you what, that is so far-fetched that what should we say? If that happens, steak dinner?
Yeah, I get a steak dinner?
You buy me a steak. You buy me every viewer a steak dinner. No, I'll buy you.
Go to a Toby Carvery.
Yes, I'll buy you a nice Toby Carvery.
Right,
we go there. I am going to go with a draw. More just because I can't really bear backing us to lose. No. Bear backing us to lose? I hope we don't get barebacked by City.
That's proper thrown you, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to go. Fuck.
That was a classic moment. Remember this, lads, because that was an unbelievable moment in the podcast history.
Probably more entertaining than the game. Can't bear backing us to lose. I am going to go with the 2-2 draw. And I'll be very happy with a 2-2 draw. If we walk away from the Etihad with a 2-2 draw, go into that League Cup final off the back of 3 games without a defeat at least, then I'm truly going to be faithful that something can happen. And the plan is that we will somehow be live streaming that game. So make sure you are here in the right place at the right time to see our instant and live reaction to that League Cup final. People, thank you very much for sticking around to the end of another video. I'll keep that in there. Subscribe to Josh's channel. It is linked in the description to this video. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Smash the like button, and I want your score predictions for this game in the comment section below. I will see you all in the next one.